Alright, buckle up and get comfortable because I'm back to do my Season 3, Episode 2 breakdown review for Wheel of Time. And boy was I thrilled with the beginning of this episode because we finally got my Caemlyn Cold Open that I have been predicting and waiting for since Season 1. Like, if you saw my Season 1 reviews and breakdowns, my Season 2 reviews and breakdowns, my Shadow Rising reviews and breakdowns, like, I have been predicting we were gonna get a cold open in Caemlyn from the beginning, and we finally got it here, you guys. And not only that, but it was a flashback, which I was not expecting. So we open with 20 years ago in Caemlyn, right around the time Rand was being born. We see that Morghese is being crowned queen after a long and bloody succession war. She's already got her two sons, little baby Galad and baby Gawain. I was not prepared for Morghese to be serving us Game of Thrones realness like that. I mean, from the scene and, just Andor itself being based on, very much Camelot slash, Caemlyn, Camelot, and then Andor and the Lion Throne and the whole theme and inspiration for it being very much Elizabethan England and Morghese being kind of a parallel to Queen Elizabeth. They were definitely serving us that with all of her costumes that we've seen in these episodes. I loved that it's the Lion Throne of Andor, but since it's a matriarchy, they call it a queendom, and it's female lions who we know are the hunters in the Pride, so it tracks. Speaking of Game of Thrones realness, I mean, with all of the lords and ladies gathered there before the throne with their banners was definitely giving me Game of Thrones. But then for Morghese to go ahead and kill everyone who didn't support her, I was not expecting that. I didn't think that really sat with her as a character to be that ruthless without Robin's influence, but it was definitely with Elaida's, that's for sure. So we are seeing very much that both Elaida and Queen Morghese are willing to get their hands dirty to secure their position. And then I was also not expecting for the Queen to show up at the White Tower with Lord Gabriel in tow, again serving Elizabethan eleganza extravaganza. When I was watching these for the first time with my spouse, who is not a book reader, oh my gosh, guys, I had to try so hard to keep my mouth shut and not just start spoiling things left and right when fucking Lord Gabriel is standing there in the hall of the tower and everyone, including Swan Sanche, are just like, oh yeah, Lord Gabriel, we know him, we love him. I'm just over here like, red alert, Forsaken in the tower. Why are you all acting like you're friends with this man? Get him out of there, stay away. The compulsion is strong with Gabriel. That's all I can say. But we definitely saw, especially with Elaine, when she first, laid eyes on him, you could tell from her facial expression that Elaine had clearly never seen this man before in her life. She had no idea who that man was. If she saw that man in the street, she wouldn't know a thing. I was also really happy to see Rima Sedai back in the tower, working with the Yellows, because I had actually just been thinking about her before watching these episodes, wondering where she was left off at, because we saw her get captured and collared by the Shan at the end of season 2, and poor Nynaeve and Elaine had to just stand back and watch. And so I was wondering what her status was at the end of season 2, so I was really glad that they took the time to address that and show us that she is safe back in the tower. They are still establishing in this scene where her and the other Yellows are trying to kind of delve Matt and heal whatever's going on with his brain, that the Yellow Sisters don't really have any advanced healing techniques. especially when it comes to mental afflictions. Hint, hint. And that, like, Nynaeve is very much unsettled by this, and if she sees a problem, she's gonna solve it, especially where healing is concerned. So I love that we're already laying the groundwork for that, because later on in the series, she does go on to rediscover techniques and weaves to heal these types of things. And spoilers, can even heal the madness that afflicts men after they've gone mad from channeling Sidene, and can also heal people from being stilled from the power. She can heal that link and people can regain the ability to channel, something that was thought to be permanent. We also see that the tower is going to great lengths to hide the fact that there was this battle with the Black Aja and this all-out war and rift now in the tower. I don't know who their contractors and their construction workers are, but like, did you literally have sisters over here using the one power to help you repair all that damage? Because you guys got that fixed really fast. However, we do see Elaida walking into the hall and immediately clocking a little bit of the damage. And I feel like even if you had everything fixed and were trying to play it off like nothing happened, people were still there that survived and know what happened. And word travels fast, especially in Tarvalon, where literally everybody has spies everywhere. I don't know how they thought they were going to be able to hide this from other sisters, especially Elaida. I was also really curious how the storyline was going to play out with Gawain in particular, because he immediately butts heads with Swan and goes on to really dislike her, because when they show up, they're like, where's Elaine? Elaine's missing. Elaine ran away. Elaine got captured. We're hearing all these things that are going on with Elaine. So like here, they literally showed up at the tower to be like, where's Elaine? I want to see Elaine, I want to make sure she's safe. In The Shadow Rising, Elaine's already left the tower again at this point to go hunt the Black Aja, and they're covering it up and trying to hide what she's doing. So Swan's trying to play it off as like, oh, she's just doing penance somewhere on a farm outside the tower, don't worry about it. Gawain kind of feels like is able to sense that something's really sus about the whole situation and really grows to dislike and resent Swan Sanche as a result, and it has major repercussions down the line. Now they're seeing Elaine here, safe and sound in the tower. Is he still gonna have justification for hating Swan? I think yes, because later at the end of episode 2-3, we see Elaine and Nynaeve and Matt do leave the tower again to go hunt the Black Aja, with Galad and Gawain being left behind at the tower for warder training, aka to keep an eye on their sister, and her immediately slinking off again and no one knowing where she went or seeing her leave. It's definitely gonna still set up for that storyline to play out with them. Morghese is there because she wants to pull Elaine out and take her back to Caemlyn, but Elaine really wants to stay and become a full Aes Sedai. Morghese is trying to say that, like, I don't care, your first duty should always be to Andor. Elaine says that it was Morghese's idea for her to go to the tower and receive this training, and for her to be the first Aes Sedai in probably thousands of years to also be a queen. And so that makes me wonder if this is just Morghese's protective instincts at play here, wanting to pull her daughter out of a seemingly dangerous situation and keep her safe and keep her close, or if this is Gabriel's influence telling her to pull Elaine out and take her back to Caemlyn, where he can have a direct influence on her. Then we switch to another scene that I predicted that we would still get and was really happy to see in the previews and to have play out here, because everyone was really mad that we didn't get Rand and Lan sword training in Faldara. But we do see Rand and Lan here sword training together on their way to the Aiel Waste. And I love that we also see Avienda's open disdain for using a sword, as all Aiel have. Again, another yay for the Waygate leaf being revealed by Loyal when they show up to the Two Rivers. When I was doing my season 1 rewatch, I was saying, like, we're seeing Pat and Thane travel using the ways, So there has to be a way to access the ways outside of just channeling. And in the novels, it is by using the little leaf key. So glad that we're getting that back and getting that confirmed here. Perrin notes through both his tracking skills and his wolf senses, his heightened senses, that a man and a woman used the ways into the two rivers right before they did, and Loyal says only a dark friend would use them. As I've been saying this whole time, like, I don't think Alana was a dark friend in the books, but the show, I think, is really trying to leave us little breadcrumbs to make us think Alana is a dark friend. Because she's always having conversations with other sisters who we know have been confirmed to be dark friends now. Yeah, she did face off against these dark friends in episode 1, but Black Aja sisters don't know who all the other Black Aja are. And if you're trying to maintain a front and throw people off the scent and make them think you're not a dark friend, what better way to do it than by openly fighting other dark friends in the streets? So I'm really curious here if it's Alana and Maxim who we're supposed to think are the dark friends using the ways, because we do see that they're a little like torn up and bloody when they find them at the two rivers, and Alana says that it was Trollocs, and we know Trollocs are infesting the ways. They're in the two rivers, but they're also in the ways. So we also see Lord Luke and Fael show up. Lord Luke is a dark friend, or evil in one way or another, but Fael's with him and she's not. Is she like a red herring? Like, everyone's sus right now. People who I never thought were sus in the books, like, everyone's sus now. I definitely feel like Fael is supposed to be a red herring. She's just attracted and interested and really curious about Perrin, but I think we're supposed to wonder, like, if she's curious about Perrin because she's trying to get info on him for the Dark One, especially with her being in Lord Luke's entourage. I do like that we got a brief mention here from Loyal and Perrin touching on the longing that Ogier suffer from when they're away from their steading for too long, and I think that's because it's kind of implied in the books that Ogier were not originally from this world or like even this universe. They had some way of folding reality, basically, called like the Book of Translation, and world hopping between like whole ass universes. So I think the steading is kind of like a recreation of their home environment, and if they're away from that home environment for too long, like, they just literally can't adapt to the outside world because they're not from there. All I can say about the Two Rivers storyline at this point, though, is I'm really disappointed that they're not giving me my Gaul. No Gaul. I feel like so much of me watching these first 3 episodes was just me being like, they did the thing. Oh, they said the thing. Oh my god, they're doing the thing. They're finally doing the things from the books. It's making me so happy. Other than Gaul. They're doing all the things from the books, and it's making me so happy. But we see Egwene is getting wounds from her dreams showing up in real life. What's up with that? And I'll go into it more in depth in my video that I'll do all about Teleron Riad and how it works, because I think it's a little bit of a derivation from how it's supposed to work in the books. If you die in the Matrix, aka in the world of dreams, like, you can die in real life. Your mind is perceiving everything that's happening as real. So I think, regardless of what people are saying to Egwene later, if her mind is perceiving these wounds as real, they're gonna show up. They're teasing us here with the book scene of Gawain and Galad versus Matt, because there's this whole scene of the bros sparring in the tower where Galad's all like, parkour! Parkour! And everyone's fangirling. I love Matt's whole, like, attitude of, like, and just his, like, open mockery and disdain for the two brothers in these episodes. The Matt is matting. What more can I say? Love the brief little Easter egg that we got here of Swan's lockbox of secrets, because that really comes into play in later novels, and people, like, trying to enter the world of dreams to, like, rifle through people's papers and, like, learn their secrets and things like that. She goes on to sick Nynaeve and Elaine on the Black Aja as her hounds, since she can't be sure that, like, literally anyone else in the tower could be a dark friend at this point. Even Varen, hint hint. Unlike in the novels, Perrin's family is still alive in the show. Sadly, in the books, when he returns to the Two Rivers, he finds that his family were killed, either by Trollocs or evil Padan Fain and his group of corrupted White Cloaks. Try to, either get revenge on him or lure him / Rand back to the Two Rivers. His family was murdered off screen. We do see here hints that his family is alive, they're just serves not appearing in this film, along with Tamel Thor's sadness. And we do see that it is, in fact, Lanfear who is torturing Egwene in Teleran Riyadh disguised as Rena the Suldam. Crazy ex-girlfriend energy. She's really going hard against Egwene because she does not like how close Egwene is to Rand and that Rand has feelings for her. I think she's really trying to keep that trauma going so that Egwene can't get over it and can't be intimate with Rand. And Lanfear also considers the World of Dreams to be her domain and her area of expertise. So she's really good at controlling and manipulating things in that realm. It's kind of like she considers it her home turf. I love that, again, we got a scene that in my Shadow Rising breakdown I said would be a really good scene to throw into these early episodes to establish the later Tower coup, which was an opening scene of Min going back to the White Tower undercover / in disguise and seeing visions of Aes Sedai being hurt or killed in a big battle. But since she only sees visions of the future, it can't be the one that just happened. It's got to be something coming up. And so she's telling and trying to warn Swan and the others about this, that she's seeing something else happening in the future. And her being put into the White Tower disguised as a servant is semi-book accurate. In the book, she was just undercover as a ditzy noblewoman, but here she's being disguised as a servant. And I love that we're finally seeing Min rocking her book-style menswear suit. She starts out just, wearing men's clothes and being somewhat of a tomboy, and then, the closer she gets to Rand and the more, their status kind of comes up in the world, she starts wearing, even more nicely tailored and exquisitely embroidered, really nice suits, and kind of starts this whole trend of women wearing menswear, and I love to see it. And then another scene where I was trying not to freak out and spoil everything for my partner, where it's Elaine having a one-on-one drink fest with fucking Robin / Gabriel, and I'm just no, Elaine, get the fuck out. Do not talk to this man. Do not tell him anything. You are not friends with this man. He is nobody's friend. But I did think it was really interesting that we got a Gareth Bryn name drop here. Another thing I've really been wondering about and speculating on, and if there's one thing us Wheel of Time fans love to do, it's speculate on if we were even gonna get Gareth Bryn in the series. I think they're probably, and I hope that they're gonna drop the romance subplot between Gareth and Swan. Was one of my least favorite aspects of the novels. I did not like the relationship dynamic at all, and especially with the show even more firmly establishing Swan in a homosexual relationship. I don't want her to immediately dive into a hetero weird relationship with Gareth, especially considering the weird power dynamics that are at play with them. So I think it's interesting that we got a Gareth Bryn name drop. I'm curious if we're gonna get Gareth Bryn in the show, and if we do, I wouldn't be surprised if we gave the romance subplot to Lyanna instead, Swan's keeper. And I'll get into why probably later because it will involve spoilers, so remind me to come back to it at the end. But again, the Matt is matting. I love that he is kind of talking about how he never sees himself as / wants to be a hero when he's giving this Horn of Valyr back to Swan. Because that is very true to how he is in the books, where he's very much the reluctant protagonist, the reluctant hero. Out of the boys, he's definitely the one that is the most get me out of this. I want no part of this. I didn't sign up for this. Let me just go home. I didn't ask for any of this. So yeah, to kind of like wrap this up, I'm really wondering like what they're gonna do with Gareth Bryn and that whole storyline, because I've been kind of wondering now for a while with the hints that they're dropping going into this season. I have a feeling that we are going to see the Tower coup play out at the end of this season and see Swan be deposed and definitely stilled, if not outright executed. In the novel, she was not executed. She escaped, but the Tower tried to spread around and make it publicly known that she had been executed because it looks bad. And you know, they gotta keep up appearances, like everything's in control. I am really wondering if they're going to not only incorporate that at the end of the season, but also incorporate the end of the Fires of Heaven, where, spoilers, Moraine takes out Lanfear in an act of self-sacrifice. And with the way we've had the relationship between Moraine and Swan be so much stronger and had their fates really be more intertwined, both with each other and with the Dragon Reborn, I'm really wondering if we're going to see their fates be intertwined in the show, and if we're going to see Moraine exit the picture at the end of this season and see Swan exit the end of this season, because I know they've said in the past it was really hard to get Swan's actress available as much as they needed to for filming past seasons, because she's a very busy woman with a busy schedule, you know? She's staying booked and blessed out there, and I love her for it. Can't be mad about it. I'm wondering if for both of like ease of filming and writing sake, also like making future storylines less complicated by having fewer characters involved, if we are going to also remove Swan and have her be actually executed at the end of this season and give her future plot lines to Lyanna, because we're featuring Lyanna as a character front and center a lot more already in these first 3 episodes of season 3. So it really wouldn't surprise me, and I think it would also make more sense to give the Gareth and Swan story to Gareth and Lyanna, because Lyanna is also stilled and goes on the run and later joins the rebel Aes Sedai who defect after Swan's deposed, and she ends up kind of revealing more of her early like Domani heritage, where Domani women are known for being like very sensual and seductive and even kind of stereotyped as using their sexuality and their feminine wiles to manipulate people, especially men, and get what they want. Women who are cut off from the one power, like, they need something else to sustain them and keep them going, right? And for Lyanna, it ends up being going back to those techniques, tips, and tricks she learned from her family and from her mom and from her female relatives when she was younger. Well, I don't really have anything else going for me right now. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with my life now, kind of to give myself a purpose and distract myself from the fact that I can't channel anymore. I'm gonna just see if I can relearn and reuse these seduction techniques to kind of get us where we need to be. See if it's like riding a bike and if I can just kind of get back on and do these things again, because she like left those aspects behind when she had to be an Aes Sedai and a keeper and like be very starched, stiff, formal businesswoman executive, and so she's like, you know what, let me embrace that other side of me. And so I can see, like, with her leaning into that side of herself more, it being more conducive to a romance subplot with someone like Gareth. So that would make total sense to me if they decided to go down that road. Let me know what you think. But I'm gonna leave this one off there, take a little break, and then come right back and film the season 3 recap reaction. So until then,